Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Clara and this is the story of how I got my service dog, Arlo. So I had been thinking about getting a service dog for a number of years, at that time primarily for my mental health issues. And I struggled with feeling like I was disabled enough to need a service dog, which I think is something a lot of disabled people feel, is that they're not necessarily disabled enough for certain treatments. And that changed for me when a little more than a year ago I was diagnosed with ehlers-danlos syndrome, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS, and mast cell activation syndrome. And after that, my physical health definitely worsened a fair amount, and I decided that I needed a service dog. And the catalyst for that was when my POTS symptoms were bad enough that I was getting so dizzy that I was stuck on the floor, not able to get up by myself. I was falling and needing to be caught, and it was hard for me to say, get my own bottle of water or my own ice pack, do things that would help my symptoms. And I knew if I had a trained dog, that dog could do things like med or water retrieval or even mobility tasks to help me stand and walk. I started looking in earnest for a service dog, and I started by looking at programs that train service dogs in my area. And what I found is that many of those programs are incredibly expensive, like in the tens of thousands of dollars to get a program trained dog. And the other thing I found was that many of those programs train dogs for specific disabilities, like a program may train only diabetic alert dogs. And I needed a dog that was going to be more multi-purposed for my wide variety of both physical and mental illnesses. So what I did instead was find a trainer. Her name is Victoria Chavera, and she is fantastic, who would work with me one-on-one and train a service dog who could do exactly the tasks that I needed him to do. And I met with her for the first time at my apartment, and this is when kind of the miracle of my service dog journey happened, because I explained to her what I needed. I had done a lot of research and already had tasks in mind, and I also explained to her that I needed a hypoallergenic dog because I am allergic to most dogs. After I had talked to Victoria about what I needed, sorry, Arlo is alerting me right now, she said she potentially had the perfect dog for me already. She knew a litter bred by Hunnington Farms in Louisiana that she knew someone who had put down a deposit on a dog and no longer wanted to go through with purchasing that dog. Arlo's from a litter of F1B Golden Doodles, which means he's 75% Poodle and 25% Golden Retriever. And Victoria thought that would be perfect because it means that the dogs are more likely to have a poodle-like coat and even more likely to be hypoallergenic. So the fact that this litter of puppies was already born meant that I could possibly have my service dog puppy in 4 to 6 weeks, and that was incredible because I thought I was going to be on a waiting list for years to get a service dog, and I couldn't imagine that this was the possible turnaround time for me. Now, it was still a really big decision. It was still expensive, but my family and I decided we wanted to go through with it, and we put down a deposit on the puppy in the litter. I obsessively looked at the pictures from the litter. Hunnington Farms posted updates of the puppies as they grew, and I watched them. I had a favorite picked out, which was not actually the puppy I ended up getting. And what happened next was when the puppies were old enough to go home to their families, Victoria flew to Louisiana and did temperament testing on the puppies and tested their ability to track things by scent. And Arlo did the best in those tests, particularly the scent test. He was kind of neck and neck with another puppy, but his ability to track things by scent was much, much better. So once Victoria had done those 2 days of testing, she and Arlo flew back to where I live, and I got Arlo when he was 7 weeks old, and we began training immediately. Now, we started with basic obedience, but we did start right then at 7 weeks old. And that means that now, at a year and 3 months, I have a fully trained service dog. While Arlo is never going to stop learning, he is task trained, he's public access tested, and he goes with me almost wherever I go. So just from 7 weeks to a year and 3 months, that's the progress we've made. So that is my story on how I got Arlo, my service dog. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!